Okay. So my presentation's on relationships and the 3 different kinds of relationships. If you go to the first PowerPoint, it will show the concept of a tree, and the 3 different kinds of relationships we're going to talk about. So why are relationships so much like algebra? Well, sometimes you look at your exes and ask why. I think that's everyone, is it not? I mean, I know for sure that I've looked back at my exes and I've asked myself why. Or just sit there and stare at the wall and go, Anyways, despite all of that, we as people get ourselves into relationships. And whether it is interpersonal, a personal relationship, professional relationship, or acquaintance, every time we communicate with someone, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, we start forming a relationship. Think of a tree. So you guys should have the image of a tree. It should be 5 different trees. Think of a tree. You are the stump. You are the strong, sturdy format of the tree. And then you have your strong, thick branches that are healthy, reliable, strong. Those are strong relationships. Those are your close friends, your family, and so forth. Then you have your thinner branches that can break off but are still sturdy. Those relationships are like your coworkers, can be like your coworkers, your boss, your friends, and so forth. Those relationships are more interpersonal. They are not your closest relationships, but more your in between relationships. And then you have your thin branches. These are your new relationships that you're building or decide not to build. These are when you meet someone in class and you decide whether or not you want to build a relationship with them, become friends. As I mentioned, there are a ton of different relationships. However, I'm going to talk about personal relationships, which are going to go over family, interpersonal relationship, professional relationships, and acquaintances. As there are more relationships than these are the ones I feel like we experience in our everyday life. I will reference the idea of a tree, and it will come up multiple times in the PowerPoint, so just keep that, so when you slide through, you have it. So keep that in your head. I'm going to first start with your strong, thick branches. These are these branches, the ones that are closest to the stump. These are your strong relationships, reliable, healthy, well, hopefully, relationships, also known as your personal relationships. Well, we talk about personal relationships. We're also going to talk about family, because family falls under the idea of strong, thick branches. Family is what forms you and what makes you become. They mold you. Let's first talk about personal relationships. Well, according to Communication in Everyday Life by Dick and McHan, 2017, the definition of a personal relationship that's only specific and irreplaceable individuals, such as your mother, brother, sister, or your very best friend. If you go to the next slide, it will kind of just have a whole bunch of bullet points about personal relationships. They can have with you. So if you go back to the tree, these are the strong branches, and I'll have an arrow pointing at your personal relationships. And as you can tell, you have your stump, and then you have like 2 small, thick branches. Obviously, you can have more branches than 2, but that make your foundation for your other relationships. Personal relationships has benefits to them, as along with benefits like everything else. Personal relationships have effects on us. Like anything else, you want a better idea about a personal relationship. In the book Communication Life in Everyday Life, Dick and Manhan 2017 talks about how personal relationships are those relationships that are unique. Personal relationships tend to involve someone whom you connect you have a deep connection with. You use patterns of interactions with this person that's exclusive to that relationship with that person. Relationships with your mother, brother, sister, significant other, or best friends are all examples of personal relationships. However, some of the patterns you use with that one person can be similar to another friend or relationship, but the pattern is still unique to that relationship. The website Taking Charge of Your Health and Well-Being, University of Minnesota, talks about personal relationships are close. Personal relationships are close connections between people that are formed by emotions and interactions. The interactions inform, therefore grow. Family is a concept that can mean something different to anyone, yet it means the same thing to everyone. I can have a different idea about what family is, and someone else can have a different idea. But in the end of the day, family is family. The Bureau of Consent states that family is a group of 2 or more people, one of whom the householder, related by birth, marriage, adoption, or residenting together. To me, this is the most significant personal relationship that there is. That we have friends. Friends are people that experience things together. And spend time building relationships for people. They can call some friends family. Finally, we have patterns of significant others. These are the people that are what we could these are the people that are what you could date. These are the people that are you could date a different age of people, of friends, people that okay. And then you have significant others. These are the people that are different degrees of friends. People that you're hoping to spend the rest of your life together. These people are usually the best of both worlds. They are known as your friends. You share experiences. And the most of the time, significant others is one of your best friends who turn into family. Benefits, there are some that we as humans all like. And don't lie. I mean, we humans like benefits. I mean, who doesn't like 50% off at their favorite store? Or saving $100 while grocery shopping? Like, these are all benefits. And while personal relationships may seem like work, they do have their benefits, just like everything else. In the book Communication Life and Everyday Life, Dick and Manhan, 2017, talks about the benefits of a personal relationship, such as support, belonging, emotional integration, and stability. Those are just some examples of benefits of personal relationship. The website Taking Charge of Your Health and Well-Being, University of Minnesota, mentions some other benefits of a personal relationship, like living longer, being healthier, and dealing with stress. Now, while those are many benefits that you may not have thought about, or even considered, I'm only going to talk about a couple of those. The website Taking Charge of Your Health and Well-Being, University of Minnesota, talks about the personal relationships when it comes to relieving stress. Meaning, when it comes to relieving stress, the website states the support offered by a caring friend can provide a buffer against effects of stress. Meaning, you have someone that you have a personal relationship, allowing yourself to talk and not ball up your emotions. I think having someone to relieve stress goes hand in hand with the relationship and support. In Communication and Everyday Life, Dick and Manhan, 2017, the book talks about how Robert Wheelis, 1974, identifies the 6 specific ways that a relationship provides with someone with a special feeling of need and value. The relationships are provisions of relationships, which means that the profound essential physiological and supportive benefits that relationships provide. We as people all want to feel like we belong. Belong somewhere and with someone. That is where personal relationship benefits you by giving the feeling of belonging and the sense of reliable alliance. In the book Communication Life and Everyday Life, Dick and Manhan, 2017, the book talks about the sense of reliable alliance, the significant benefit that one will get from a relationship. It is the feeling of feeling connected to someone and providing stability and comfort to the person. Relationships also provide that someone will be there if he or she ever needs help. Like everything else, are you guys following? Are you guys lost?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Like everything else, personal relationships have effects. That doesn't mean the effects are good or bad. Like everything else, good and bad, like everything else, they have good and bad effects. Our personal relationships affect all our other relationships. If you justify your behavior due to the impact of your personal relationship, one might call this fallacy argument. The post hoc ergo propter hoc, meaning this, therefore because of this. An example of someone using this argument fallacy, post hoc ergo propter hoc, might say, after I got in an argument with my friend, I was in a bad mood because my friend said some hurtful things, causing me to lash out at my boss. But a personal relationship can also have good effects on your relationship, like everything else. There are good and bad effects of everything. It might be considered hard to see the good results, but they are there. Okay, I'm almost done with personal relationships. There's a lot. As
the slide after affects our health isn't showing up.
I think that's my iPad.
Oh, never mind.
It might be my iPad.
Well, okay, so there's the slide of personal relationships, and then there's just bullet points on benefits of relationships, effects after our personal relationships. The slide after that is statistics, which we will get there in a minute.
The impact of technology?
Yeah.
So that kind of cuts things off.
It cuts off the bottom of the effects of our health.
So the first slide that says personal relationships, towards the bottom on our slide it says effects on our health, and we can't see the next bullet point on the iPad. And I think that's the iPad screwing things up.
Okay, yeah. But I'll tell you guys too.
Okay.
Don't worry. It's in this 10-page speech.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, we talked about the benefits of personal relationships, which we could think of positive effects of a personal relationship. Some of those benefits were relieving stress, living longer, belonging in a sense of reliable alliance, and being healthier. All of these are positive effects of a personal relationship has on someone. The impacts that your personal relationships have on your professional are according to the website Knowledge, Roger Lee Mann and Julius Call 2017, our identity role and the way forward. The website talks about our identity role and how every relationship you naturally or unnaturally thinking, but you adapt in that role. The site later discusses about how the way forward and how you modify your parts within the role to particular situations. So basically, you think of it as a blob, right? You have a mold, you have a way that you act, but the blob will modify and change depending on the situation you are in within that relationship. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the ways personal relationships can affect our health, according to the website Indiana University Health, Nicole Phillips, MD, 2018, depression, weight management, alcohol, and drug use. The site talks about personal relationships can be a factor to depression. When we are constantly going to negative interactions with family and close friends, it becomes hard on our mental health and may over time affect our physical health. The site talks about weight management. It's easier to manage a healthy weight if you're around people who eat healthy. If someone eats unhealthy around you, it's hard not to join and eat unhealthy as well. Social outings to restaurants and some restaurants all the time makes it hard for you to eat healthy. Finally, it talks about drug and alcohol use. It goes along with the idea of eating with some. It goes along if you are with someone who uses unhealthy behavior. It's hard to not take part in the behavior as well. So if you go to the next slide, we're going to talk about statistics.